Lads, can we just stop all this nonsense? Can we just stop all this nonsense? Like, it's actually kind of crazy. Like, every single one. Again, look, these are the L. Caitlin Clark haters. But, like, and I also understand that sports debates are needed. I understand that. And a lot of people are like, oh, why are you, like, talking about this? Because we hear a bunch of nonsense. We hear a bunch of nonsense. And I've seen this tweet. And it was like, and basically, it was just a tweet. And it was like, we can all agree on this. 10,000 likes. It is what it is. I was like, Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese greater than Caitlin Clark. Because Angel Reese beat the number one seed Minnesota Lynx. As if Caitlin Clark did not beat the Lynx last year when they were the one seed. And Caitlin Clark didn't beat the Liberty, who were the one seed at that time as well last year. And they didn't beat the Liberty this year, who were the one seed, who were undefeated at the time. And they didn't beat the Lynx even without Caitlin Clark this year. But I tweeted out as a response, Angel just won her first game against a 500 team since Marina Mabry was on the Sky. And people are talking about this nonsense. And people were like, oh, why are you bringing that up? Just to show how long it's been. Just to show how long it's been. If you agree that it's a dumb argument, subscribe. We are trying to hit 55,000 subscribers, 54,500 subscribers by the end of the day. We're not going to do it, but that is the kind of, I don't know, close thing we might hit. But like, we gotta just keep talking about it. Like this, right? Like there's so big of a gap. There's such a big gap that, I mean this when I say this. The fact that Caitlin Clark has probably been the better of these two players this season. And yes, I understand Angel's had 10 really good games, but you have to take into account, if you're going to talk about Caitlin's slump, we have to talk about how Angel's started the season slump. And people questioning if she's even good at basketball. Which, yes, I didn't change it from that she's good at basketball. And I do stand by what I said as well. If you guys haven't watched any of my videos from back then about the point forward Angel Reese, I said that Tyler Marsh should double down on the point forward. And they were like, people were like, oh, why would she? She's bad at it. I'm like, yeah, Sky are going to suck anyway. Even if she's bad at point forward, the only way she's going to get better at point forward is if she plays it. If she goes and plays more point forward, she's going to get better at point forward. It's a simple thing. Like, you go to develop her. You go and develop her. And that is the one thing that I think Tyler Marsh is really good at. I don't think Tyler Marsh is a very good X's and O's coach. And I think Angel's fantastic. I think she's absolutely fantastic. I think she is her and Ariel Atkins are the 1A, 1B. Regardless of the person that keeps angrily messaging me saying Camilla's better than Angel Reese. I don't know if Camilla Cardoso is going to be better than Angel Reese, but she's not better than right now. She's not better than her today. Everyone can talk about all these hypotheticals if she was in a different scenario and all this ifs, ands, and buts, but they're all hypotheticals. Just like people are like, oh, when Angel Reese figures out the mid-range shot, man, that's a hypothetical as well. Or not in the mid-range, she figures out the three-point shot. They're all hypotheticals. Yes, there was a hypothetical world where Angel Reese is able to create her own shot off the dribble from the mid-range or the three, and is able to kind of play like true point forward like Alyssa Thomas, and not have like 75% of her assists be from dump offs someone giving her the ball in the post and a dump off and DHOs. There is a chance that that Angel Reese does get to a level of a better version of Alyssa Thomas. And I mean this when I say this, like, Angel Reese has a super high potential, super high ceiling, and a super high floor as well, just because of her motor. Like, and it's one of those things, making this comparison, and Angel Reese doing it herself as well, by the way. Her essentially saying, she literally goes, other people are saying there's other better young cores. No, we're the best young core. No, basically, no question, we're the best young core. Clearly, it's Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston. They're the best. They have the best record of all young cores. And if you want to argue anyone other than them, it's the Washington Mystics. And even if you want to say, oh, they're the best young 4-5. There's even a debate there because Shakira Austin's 24 years old. Shakira Austin's less than a year, if I'm not mistaken, older than Camilla Cardoso. And Caitlin and Angel are both younger than Cardoso. But, like, there's no question about it that the best young core in the WNBA is the Indiana Fever. 25 and under. You've lost out on Lexi Hall, but the two of them with KK Timpson, unless, of course, you want to look at the Washington Mystics, who may not be able to keep Jade Melbourne coming into next year, which is one of the dumbest things I've seen. Like, Jade Melbourne is one of the youngest players in the league. She's one of the youngest guards in the league that are getting, like, legitimate minutes. She's younger than half the rookies. And they just decided that they don't want to do anything. They don't want to keep her. And she's fantastic as a young player. Fantastic potential. Either way, like, when we start to have these conversations, this is like Paige Bueckers when her team lost. And they're like, oh, you know, her team. And it's every time the Sky or the Fever. Every time the Fever win against the Sky, it's, look at the team Caitlin Clark has. She's on a super team. And by the way, a big reason people were calling the Fever a super team was because of a player who's no longer there, named DeWanna Bonner. But people are calling the Fever a super team. But then, you know, when Angel plays, she goes and plays with Alexis Peterson, who's a W player. Flaujae, who might be a lottery pick. To be fair, the LSU team was real good. The LSU team was a super team the following year. The 2024 LSU team, talent-wise, is way better than the 2023 LSU team. That was just a game where, I can't remember what her name was, coming off Alexis Peterson, and whoever who was coming off the bench just lit them up. It is what it is. That happens. It's in a one-off game. It's basketball. But like the LSU super team, Caitlin beat, and unfortunately, Caitlin Clark came up against a team that are entirely made up of WNBA players. Caitlin Clark came up with a team with Camila Cardoso, Tahina Pau, Flaujae, Raven Johnson, what's her name? Ashlyn Watkins, Camila Cardoso, if I didn't mention her name. The year before, they had all of those players, and they had Tessa Johnson the following year, Malaysia Full-Wiley. The year when Caitlin beat them, they had Leah Boston, they had Zaya Cook, they had Victoria Saxon, who isn't spectacular, but she's a WNBA player. Like, it was literally a pro team. It was a pro team. But, you know, when they go and, you know, when Caitlin loses, the best player is meant to win, but when these other players lose, it's their team's fault. When the reality is that the Chicago Sky should not be as bad as they are. Like, that is a simple fact. The Dallas Wings are just a mess. They're a mess, and Paige doesn't have. I think Paige doesn't have the ability to will a team to wins like Caitlin, but at the same time, like, having that mentality to will a team to wins can be a negative. Like, there are times where having the Kobe mentalities of net negative for your team, but there are times when trying to will teams to win helps. And I do think motor-wise, Angel Reese is unbelievable. But, like, I'm sorry, even though she's this fantastic rebounder, we're not comparing Andre Drummond to Steve Nash. That's not saying Angel Reese is not one of the best young players in the WNBA. That's not saying Angel Reese is not an all-star. Because no ifs, ands, or buts about it, Angel Reese has developed into an all-star. She's developed into one of the top 20 players in the world. And I think she got underrated by ESPN. I think she was completely underrated by saying she's been the 18th best player in the world this season, regardless of how bad her start has been. But we're looking at a player who, at her best, I'm not joking when I say it, when Caitlin is at her best, as in when she's hitting shots and running the show, she is the best player in the world. And again, I don't know how long she's, I don't know how many games in her career she's been quote unquote at her best. But Caitlin Clark, even shooting bad, is a top 10 player in the world. Is an absolute top 10 player in the world. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Even through this slump, is playing like a top 10 player. Because she makes everything easier for everybody. You can't watch, if you watch these games and you don't look at the box scores, when you look at these two players, one player you see an absolute just relentless player, a relentless player in Angel Reese, who is great in her own right. But when we start to have these comparisons with Caitlin and Angel, all it does is, and by the way, comparisons are always going to happen in sports. And comparisons, you can maybe make the argument, not even make the argument, comparisons are good for the growth of the game when we're purely talking basketball. But when we're purely talking basketball, it is setting players up to fail because Angel's not quite good enough to be in the conversation yet. Neither is Paige. Neither is Paige. And in my opinion, like, Angel's in that conversation with, like, she is the next best. Like, for me, the top 5 power forwards, if you include Alyssa Thomas, Fee Collier, Aja Wilson, these all play the same positions. Fee, Aja. If you think Aja's a center, then Fee, Stewie, AT, Neka. They're, in my opinion, they're a lot better than everyone else at that position. And then there's the next crop, which is like, I know Bree Jones is playing there this year. So like Bree Jones, Kiki Riafen, Angel, Natasha Howard, I'm trying to think who else, Kayla Thornton. And in my opinion, Angel's the best of that bunch. I think she is. I think she is the best of the second crop of players. But like when we look, and that's the best of the second crop of players at her position. She is, if you consider Aja a center, she's the 5th best player at her position. There is no argument for anyone over Caitlin Clark if you just watch the game. I've watched enough of Skylar Diggins. There's no argument. There is no argument for Skylar Diggins above Caitlin Clark at the point guard position. Because again, Skylar Diggins scores a lot of points. If you want like actual people playing the 1, it's Natasha Cloud, who there's no debate. I'm trying to think of like players playing the 1. Kelsey Plum just goes and chucks, which is why her team is so bad. She doesn't set up anything. Jordan Canada, not a debate. Rachel Banham's cooking, but not a debate. I'm looking through all the teams. JJ Quinnerly, no. Caitlin, who starts 1 for the Valkyries? Veronica Burton, no. Although Veronica Burton's been cooking. She's been absolutely cooking. Fair play to Veronica Burton. Chelsea Gray, don't get me started. The Minnesota Lynx, Courtney Williams, no. The Liberty Cloud, no. The Mercury, if you want to consider AT a point guard, maybe you can have a conversation whether or not Caitlin's the best point guard. But like, that's all it really is. And then Paige is playing off the ball at the minute. And even when Paige isn't playing, even when she's not playing the 1, like, she's clearly a better shooting guard. I think for this team, she's a much better point guard than Quinnerly, but she's clearly a better shooting guard with a true point guard. We've got to be real here. Like, there's no basketball argument for Angel Reese being better than Caitlin Clark. As Caitlin Clark has won as many games against plus 500 teams in the last 4 days as Angel Reese has won in the last year. She's won more in the last 4 games Caitlin Clark has played. She has won more games against plus 500 teams than Angel Reese has in the last 40. The last 4. In the last 4 she has played. That is an exaggeration. I'm wrong with that. It's about 25. Because Angel missed the last 6 games of last season. So it's probably, she's won more in the last 4 and the last 25. And if you guys want to say, oh, but like, I'm sorry, if you gave Caitlin Clark, and I mean this when I say this, Ariel Atkins is not that much worse than Kelsey Mitchell. And she's a much better defender. If you gave Caitlin Clark, Ariel Atkins the 1, or at the 2, Beck Allen, Kia Nurse, who are, again, wide open, can cook. Both of them can cook. You gave her Kia Nurse at the 3. At the 4, if you gave her, like if you swapped Angel and Caitlin, and you gave her Beck Allen at the 4, Kia Nurse at the 3, and Cardoso at the 5. Or even E-Will just because of her off-ball movement with Cardoso. I'm sorry, the Chicago Sky are close to 500 if Caitlin's healthy. That is 100% true. You can make an argument that it's a fit thing, but that is 100% true. But anyway, I'll see you guys.